So today I'm going to run backwards through the zodiac and we'll see how far I go. I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday, which is I have the Prime News Double Majors Tarot. Knights are immutable, queens are cardinal, kings are fixed, and the element is the element. So we're going to go from Pisces to Aquarius to Capricorn to Sagittarius and so on and so forth. Until I feel like stopping. Excuse me. There's no thought today. No how and why today because I had an appointment, if you can't tell. Went to go get my hair done. This is so like, it's feeling like the work is worth it. Hey Sandra, how you doing today? We've officially, the eclipse has come and gone. We are now in Taurus season, I believe. I believe the sun has officially ingressed into Taurus. Which means, yeah. Hold up. Oh, Venus is in Gemini. I don't know why I thought it was in Taurus for a second. Sun in Taurus, Moon in Taurus, Mercury in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus, North Node in Taurus, which means that we are in a Taurus stellium right now between the Sun, the North Node, the Moon, Mercury, and Uranus. Jupiter still has, Aries still has Jupiter, Gemini has Venus, Cancer has Mars, Leo's empty, Virgo is empty, Libra is empty, Scorpio has a South Node, Sag is empty, Capricorn is like empty. So like Leo has Black Moon, Lilith. Virgo has the asteroid Lilith carries in the ascendant right now. The Pars Fortuna or part of fortune is in Libra. And then the IC for right now is in Sagittarius, but Capricorn is like straight up none. Pluto's in Aquarius. Pisces has Saturn and Neptune. So, hey Holly, hey, excuse me, Steph. How y'all doing today? Today's been an interesting day. It's been a good day so far. I mean, so on my way to get my hair done, it was interesting that like we were going and then coming and going. So we were going and traffic was fairly light, but coming, so like the opposite direction, was like heavy. It seemed like heavier than it should be for a Thursday at the time that we were leaving, but it was like basically stopped for quite a while, which was interesting. And then like my loctician, my stylist, my hair doer, the person that does my hair, he was like, I don't know why I had you in my phone for like 2 o'clock instead of 12 o'clock. And I'm like, well, we're officially in that. We like deep in the Mercury pre-retrograde shadow because that thing is about to retrograde at any minute. But then I got some news, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I wasn't like worried, but I was like, it's been a minute. But also at the same time, I've had this feeling that I don't. It's almost like allowing myself to be challenged, in a way. But I have this feeling that if I bring more of me, if not all of me, to the table, if I talk about like what it is that I really want, it would pay out in a way. It would pay out. And it has. And then, I was sitting under the dryer, like not about to cry. But I was like, wow, it's just like it feels like the work is worth it. It's all been worth it. I was like, ooh. But anyway. Oh no. So like excuse me. I got them 2-strand twisted. I got my locks 2-strand twisted because they're a lot less tight than the braids. So I don't know if you've seen like when I had them braided back, It's like really tight, and I don't like it. And it like yanks at my hair. But these are like they're tight enough, but like not uncomfortable. You know, it's not like because with some of those styles, you get it braided so tight that your head hurts. Like I don't handle that well. So, anyways, kind of tired. Oh yeah, no, I didn't cut it. It's just braided. So like it's because it's twisted. It like kind of lifts a little bit rather than like if I were to pull them all the way down because they are coiled. Since it's coiled, it shortens it a little bit. That was your question. I just saw it. A whole lot of bull, right? Who I should look. You know what? Before we get started, and I'm gonna timestamp these. I timestamped them yesterday, and then I like shut down my computer before I even put in the timestamps. Luckily, I remembered them though. I'm gonna pull before and after. Is it room number 5? Since we're officially in Taurus season. Oh, that means I get to read a transit. I'm gonna do that too. I don't know why I'm loving doing that, but I am. Am I gonna? I'll pull it as it is, and then I'll give it a shuffle, and I'll pull it. So we're gonna put these to the side. So I'll probably just do Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn. Let's see. Oh wait. I'm gonna pull it as is. So before, it's at the bottom of the deck. Wild Ox, Untamable, and it's number 2 at Burston to bust out. Look at it. Look how similar they are. To burst out. Love that. Now I'm gonna give this a few shuffles, and I'll pull before and after too. Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't. I don't like it. Yeah, it does. Look a little shorter. Heart taker. Excuse me. Solsteda and Heart taker. Hertica. Swalginess and Heart taker. Who is this? Health and Swalginess. Excuse me. So I'm using my purple lamp. That's why it's like a pinkish tint because it's too hot for pure white screen. Like my room is so small that it gets really hot, and like the screen is too bright for how small this room is, and it gets really warm in here. Oh no! Whew. Okay, so we'll do 4 piles. Actually, we're just gonna do. It ended up being 5, but I went back over some of them. And I'll do it from the bottom of the deck. Again, bottom of the deck is Fane or Vein, followed by Leaf Shade, Cradled. Ooh, interesting. Looking for Oor. 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 Oh, here we go. It's in between Earth Grap and Unwilla. Oh, and then Earth Mason. Earth Mason is under Unwilla. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I love it. Earth Grap is right there. Interesting. Leech was before Earth Wrap. Mm. These feel like not completely opposite. Before I shuffled it, it was to burst out, to free. After I shuffled it, it's Earth Wrap, Gripped, and Unwilling Willful Resistance. Earth's Grip, it's also Return, but Gripped and Resistance. You know what? There was Steph. There was the superfluid energy. Like this feels superfluid, where it's like it has minimal interaction with things that are not it. So it's like it easily flows through and around and passes through pores and everything else. It can only be contained by itself. So it's like there's no friction. There's a whole lot of friction here. And that's it. I ain't got to get into it. I'm like, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. But that's what came out the other day when the superfluid energy came out, right? It was Calc and Perth. There was the cosmic surge and then the anchored mortar. And it was like the energy is surging to clear through a blockage. If we allow it, there's one experience. If we resist it, there's another experience. Either way, we get where we're going. Or either way, we'll move forward. Or either way, like something will happen. Bottom of the deck is Treadle. Top of the deck is your Treadle. Elks. Treadle. Speaking of, I do want to do. I know I literally keep talking about it, but I think I will. I'll probably pre-record it though. I haven't done a pre-recorded video in a hot minute, and I want to do one. I also haven't done a personal in a while. Not that I want to do one, but those are always pre-recorded. So not always. I have done a few on like Zoom and Discord. I don't know. I don't think I'll do one though. I mean, no one's necessarily asking me for one. I don't necessarily. I'll be honest. I feel resistance. So I was gonna say I don't necessarily feel guided, but there is resistance there. So that probably isn't gonna happen. All right. So I'm gonna timestamp Pisces for 14:30. So I got a minute to shuffle up for Pisces. Get these nice and shuffled. Ooh, I see the High Priestess. I saw the Knight of Pentacles and the High Priestess one day, and it looked like the Knight of Pentacles, like the Pentacle was a gift or something, and the High Priestess was like checking the registry or was like logging the gift or something like that. It was interesting. All right, let's see if Pisces will be nice like Gemini and not give like 15 cards. Oh, there was a Hangman too. All right. Pisces. 10 more seconds. Pisces. Pisces. I'm a Pisces. She said. Will do. I was just like, I don't know. It's probably one of those things too. I feel like sometimes I'm always like, how is it gonna go? And then I sit down and I do it, and things just like flow. So, all right, Pisces. In between the two Knights of Cups Every card in the deck should be upright. Should be. How are you? Oh no, not Pisces already on the table. I'm scared. So I shuffled the decks. I cut it into 4 piles. I'm picking up the cards, and as I assemble all the cards together, I feel gloss under my finger as I put the cards down on the table. On the table is the Knight of Cups. Pisces is ready. Pisces is here. Pisces is. I was going to spell here in some way that's not Here, but Hear here. Pisces is Hear here. Since I'm reading these retrograde, I'm going to pull from the bottom of the deck. Hanged Man. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. This Knight of Cups could be anywhere. It could be anywhere. Hierophant. Hanged Man again. Oh my gosh. Knight of Cups. Ah, thank you, Pisces. I am so glad I pulled it from the bottom. I'm so glad I pulled it from the bottom because that literally would have been the entire deck besides 3 cards. Who was that, though? Was it Taurus that only had like 5 cards left? Anyway. So, Pisces. There's something interesting going on with you. So, first, the horses are heading in the same direction. But your Knights of Cups are looking in opposite directions. So they're both looking like outside. And then you have the Hanged Man, followed by the Hierophant, followed by another Hanged Man. Hangman, Hierophant, Hanged Man, and that's it. So there's something very symmetric about how you come out. I can probably pick all the cards up. Oh, maybe. We'll see. See this? This is what it looks like. And these are all the cards. I mean, with the Hanged Man and the Hierophant, that's obviously something like spiritual. You really only have 3 cards. Everything is in a line. So there isn't, like, it feels like they're on in the external. There's something going on that's deeply internal. And then the Hanged Man is also associated with Pisces. It's like traditionally water, modernly Neptune because of association Pisces. The Hierophant is Taurus. Sun and Moon are in Taurus, right? Like we just did. We just pulled the bulls, right? Oh, so thank you. That makes it you make me feel like it wasn't as much of an aside. I don't know why I feel like with fewer cards it would be easier to read. I had the same problem with Gemini. Gemini gave me a very manageable number of cards, but then I'm like, what I do with this? Sorry. Ooh, she ain't playing no games. Love to see it. Ooh, girl, they ain't playing no games. One second. Yep. Man. Um, where's my reply button? Hello? Oh, right here. Isn't it funny how I guess the eclipse was in Aries, but it's like move out of Aries season, slow down into Taurus, but now things are taking off. And it's like, ah! But wasn't that like the case? Was that not the story? Anyway, Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. You have the unenthused Hierophant sitting here. I don't know if it's like no one's coming to the sermons anymore. Usually the Hierophant has two priests or two disciples here. The disciples are gone. Like the staff or the cross is off to the side. He's looking very, excuse me, unenthused. Now if I read this, okay. So this Hanged Man is with the externally facing Knight of Cups. This Hanged Man is with the internally facing / past facing Knight of Cups, and then again the Hermit is in the middle. So I don't know if you know what this, it's making me think of like how, hey Cause of Harmony, how you doing? It makes me think of um I'm trying to not put it in the context of a video game right now, but it kind of sort of has that context of a video game where it's about time. If you have the ability to like travel through time, it's like you're in the present moment, but you can go to the past and you can move something. Like if there's an obstacle in the present moment, you go to the past, you do something so that the obstacle moves, and then you jump back to the present. In the present moment, the obstacle is cleared because you cleared it in the past. And then you proceed further. There may be a place that you can't access in the past, but you go to the present moment, you move, and then you go back to the past because that obstacle only existed in the past, or maybe like it was mechanical, and over the course of time it like broke down or whatever, so you can take care of it in the present. But it's like in the past, internally, the Hangman, I don't know if he's at a loss. Well, he looks concerned. So maybe at a loss of what to do. But in the external / future, like there's some kind of enlightenment. So that's why it's almost like maybe you've done everything that you can do internally. Maybe you've done all of the healing that you've needed to do. And that's why the past is like released its grip on you, or the internal, it's like not to be overly internally focused. It's now to direct some of that attention to the external. Directing the attention to the external may be in the way that you like do things. And then we have the unenthused Hierophant in the middle. The Hierophant, and see, because of the crowns of lilies, I guess, where the disciples used to be, it's almost like they've completed their tutelage under the Hierophant. So it feels like I wouldn't be surprised if this was an area. Hey Perry, how you doing? I wouldn't be surprised if this is an energy that's like um, it's one of those like your guards or your guides are changing because you completed one phase of your spiritual journey, your cycles of growth and healing, and you're like going into a new phase. And in this new phase, you have different guides because they help you in different ways or because they help you in different areas. It's almost like there are some guides with certain areas of expertise. Or if it's just like you're going to be glad to hear it. Um, it's like this could be a trigger. Can you hear that? Oh, it might trigger your flight or fight, flight or fight or flight response. Like it doesn't, it honestly doesn't feel like a trigger, but it could be. This is like if you have writer's block, if you have a creative block, and this is internally like this is the creative block because you've overdrawn your well of inspiration, and so you step away from the project. You like take a walk outside, you get inspired by nature, you whatever. It's like it's that kind of external motivation that gets you to see things in a different way. And again, it feels like you've completed a certain cycle of your healing and or spiritual journey, and it's time to explore further. But again, it feels like it's externally motivated in a way of it's like outside of your comfort zone or it's outside of the things that you know. And again, it doesn't have to be a trigger, but there's some external stimulus that refills your well of creativity. Or it could just be the times that we're moving into because it's like past future, right? I don't know, Pisces. A bit of a cowboy. No, not the Spurs are. It's very fitting for Taurus season. You're a Libra, right? Maybe your guide thinks that you're a Taurus, and you gotta tell your guide that you're a Libra, like other side of Venus. Leave the Spurs and the prods and the brands at at the ranch. Oh, I was about to say I didn't timestamp Pisces. Yeah, I did. Aquarius, we're gonna call you 2930. So fixed King Air Aquarius. You have the kind of sort of start. Oh, Taurus rising. Oh, never mind, Holly. Sorry, I tried to help you out, but I tried to help. Yeah, that's the start of the show, Aquarius. King of Swords has been doing some interesting things lately. Some very interesting things, but I guess also like Pluto is an Aquarius, so I wouldn't be surprised if um, there's a sort of change up. Pluto, I don't know if it was the energy of Capricorn, if it was the energy of Pluto, or the energy of Pluto in Capricorn. But Pluto started carrying this energy of like, it provides what's needed. Like it provides what something needs. It could have been Capricorn. But Aquarius is also ruled by Saturn. So Pluto could be doing the same thing in Aquarius. This is a complete aside. It's a complete aside. It's fine. It doesn't, I don't have to mention it. It doesn't bear mentioning. All right, Aquarius. Let's cut this. We're going to be looking in between the Kings of Swords. Bottom of the deck, Knight of Wands, Mutable Fire, Knight of Pentacles, Mutable Earth, Queen of Wands, Mutable Fire. King of Swords. You are the fourth card from the bottom. And I am terrified because there are so many cards left. Knight of Pentacles, Page of Wands, Queen of Swords, the Lovers, Knight of Wands, the Fool, woo, and the King of Swords. Oh, goodness. Thank you. Thank you. I might be able to squeeze in a fourth one today. All right, so yesterday I didn't really look at the cards or talk about too much the cards that came out before the clarifier. But for you, this, and it kind of, because I'm looking at the Fool that's right before your second clarifier. You have the Fool in the past, the Knight of Pentacles in the present, and then the Page of Wands, Queen of Swords, Lovers, Knight of Wands in the future. The other Knight of Wands. You have both Knights of Pentacles. You have both Knights of Wands. Then you have a Page of Wands, Queen of Swords, and the Page of, or in the Queen of Wands, sorry. What I was going to say is it feels like there's a shift in, there's a change in desire, or there's a surge and increase in creativity. There's also a change in the physical landscape. There's a change in what is deemed as possible. One second. And then it's like there's a change in the, and what is deemed as like lucrative or possible. And then there's like you beginning something. So I'm really reading this as like elemental and modality. Mutable earth and mutable fire. Then it's cardinal fire. So it's like now you can do something. Because of this, I almost wonder if there wasn't something that has been on your mind for a long time that you didn't know how to bring to fruition, or you didn't know if it was possible, or if there like technology just wasn't at the point where it could make your idea, like it wasn't really realistic. Maybe there was something within you that was like ahead of its time for quite some time. And honestly, it might still be ahead of its time, but at least like you have, it's feeling like you have the ability to like bring that to fruition now. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if you like pivot in some way. Um, but if I read this like past, present, future, and the past is the Fool, that could have been you starting this thing, or it could have been you like putting that to the side and then just going about life. Also, because of how this came out, there's a lot that's out of your control. There's a lot that's outside of your control, and there's a lot that's in the future. So let's actually walk the future back to the present, and then we'll look at the past, and then we'll look at the present. So, Knight of Wands here. No horse. The horse is gone, but it's like it's looking out. I don't know if it was you the last time I read all the zodiac signs. mm Or if that was one of the ones I read yesterday. There was somebody that was like ahead of their time. This Knight of Wands is actually like he's facing the past, and it's the future most energy. And then it goes into the Lovers. This honestly feels like one of those divinely inspired ideas. It's very so there's a phenomenon, I guess, of multiple things coming into existence at roughly the same time in very different parts of the world. And so it's like when humanity is ready, the idea is floating in the collective, subconscious, unconscious. There are those who download it or those who like tap into it, and they're the ones that sort of like work on it and then bring it to fruition. And then it's like, if one person does, I don't know if it's necessarily like if one person gets the idea and they don't like act on it, then it just floats to somebody else, or if like there are multiple people who like receive it at roughly the same time. It may appear like it floats somewhere else, but when multiple people do it, we see it pop up all over the place. Not all over, but we see it pop up a few times at again, roughly the same time. And it's almost feeling like that. Why does the future feel like the past? Even though I'm reading it back, it feels like this is the past. Because here's the Queen of Swords. Or is it these two together? Libra and fire. Sagittarius, the lovers, Libra, and the element of fire. The only fire sign that's not on the table is Leo. How could I forget Leo? Because the Queen of Wands is here. Cardinal fire. The Knight of Wands is here twice. Mutable fire. You're the King of Swords. This is you incorporating a new element because the Fool has all four elements at their disposal. But they don't necessarily, like, they're not the magician, so they don't necessarily know how to use them, but they have all of them. The most juvenile in it, well, no, because the Queen, the Knight, and the Page of Wands are all here. See, the Queen of Swords, it's almost this energy that's like, if you weren't capable of bringing this thing to fruition, you wouldn't have received the idea for it. Or if you weren't involved in some capacity, like you wouldn't have gotten it. Something about the lovers is like chosen by, it's like the emphasis is on this angel that brings these two together. The emphasis is on, I don't know why I keep wanting to say divine providence. I can't tell if this Queen of Swords is blocking it or not. The Queen of Swords could be you, like, cutting down this idea. Like, this isn't reasonable. That's not logical. This isn't like there's no way that this can work or that can work or blah blah blah. It's like you, rather than looking at all the ways that, who was that? Oh, when when I went to go get my hair done today. So I went to go get my hair done today, and there are two stylists, and one of the stylists was like, "Hey, when are you gonna do whatever to my hair?" And the other stylist was like, "You don't have enough hair for that." And the first stylist was like, all we got to do is, do this and do that. Like, where there's a will, there's a way. Just say you don't want to do it. And then the other stylist was like, "You already know I don't want to do it." But it was that, like, where there's a will, there's a way. Like, we can make it happen. But so, and it makes me think of, like, the difference between the optimist and the pessimist is the optimist is the one who will, like, continue and keep going. The optimist is the one who will find ways to make it happen. The pessimist is the one that's just like, yeah, no, I don't have this, I don't have that, it's not going to work. So I don't know if this Queen of Swords is like you not on board. I don't know if the Queen of Swords is like other people who aren't on board. If you go to someone else with that idea, I don't know if the Queen of Swords is the divine being like, I mean, I guess that would be more justice, but it's like, who you get it from or who that idea comes from. But the Page of Wands is here, which makes it like it feels like there's a lot of excitement here. And the Fool is on the other side. So if you've been hoping for and manifesting, wanting something new and something exciting, something fresh and fun, maybe like let's say you work at a company and you're looking for like new talent to bring in new ideas, or like there's a generational sort of difference or a generational gap, but there's like you may be a little older, but you know or you see that the current generation or the incoming generation to the workforce, like there is some merit that they have. There are some things that they have figured out, rather than being that person that's like, oh, the young kids are they don't want to work and blah 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 blah. It's like rather than looking at like the negative stereotypes or focusing on the whatever, it's like at least being open to the positives and then like really capitalizing on those positives. This Knight of Pentacles is like, but no, this we got the calm and collected Knight that came out before. But this one is very it's the horse. The horse is like, we're going too slow. It's almost like it makes me think of when I'm on the treadmill. Thank you, Cause of Harmony. I appreciate it. Um, it makes me like when I'm on the treadmill or like if I'm on a bike, if I'm doing some kind of physical activity, sometimes it's like when the speed is really, really, really like low or when it's going really slow, it's almost more difficult than it is if it were like too fast. And so either that or there's a lot of momentum behind the thing. I would say that there's a lot of momentum behind it because of, again, it's that phenomena of when multiple people in the world who don't talk to each other, who don't communicate to each other, all get a similar idea. And there's like, it's groundbreaking, the technologies that develop or the advancement in thought and science or whatever. And then like it actually comes to fruition. It's like it's there's momentum behind this because it's like when humanity is ready, the solution comes or the idea comes. There's a readiness here. Something is ready. And so I would say like try to you don't have to be delusional because you're not Pisces. You don't have to be delusional, but it's like try to be more positive in your thinking, or it's like it's that where there's a will, there's a way. There's a way that exists somewhere with the technology that we have, with the resources that you have now. It may require some pioneering, it may require an advancement, but you have enough to start. Again, the Fool, you have all of the tools that you need. It's just going to require some figuring it out. But also with this Knight of Pentacles, with it being the quick Knight of Pentacles, it has all of the sustainability or all of the lasting power, all of the endurance of the Knight of Pentacles, but it's a lot quicker than the Knight of Pentacles typically is. And again, it feels like it's the momentum behind whatever idea you might have, or it's like the people who get behind it who are as excited about it because they can see its application. And you don't have to do it all on your own. With the Lovers here too, though, I would say, like you want to make sure that you're working with someone, or you're working with people, you're working with energies that it's like who share the vision, but it doesn't have to be exactly the same. It's just like, you don't want to, it's almost like vet the people that you work with, because it's like, you don't want, I don't even necessarily want to get into all of the negative like things that could happen, because it feels like that's not necessarily important, but it's like, vet the people that you work with. And if they can be as excited about it as you are, then maybe they will also be of the mind like where there's a will, there's a way. Instead of it being like there's someone who could get behind it in the beginning, but then they turn into this like critic and they become a naysayer, like we can't do this or we can't do that, or nobody's this, nobody's that. Again, it may not even be that difficult. It doesn't necessarily have to be, because it does, again, feel like there's a lot of momentum behind this energy. This could be the thing in the future, looking back to its past to see who's going to be the one that picks up the torch. And the first card of your future is this Page of Wands. And it's almost like maybe with the Fool and its proper position of the past, like maybe you've already done something similar in your life before, where you got really creative, where you used maybe existing technology in a way that wasn't necessarily marketed, advertised, or intended to accomplish something spectacular. It almost makes me think of like whenever there's like a medicine or whatever, and they're like, oh, this is also good for people with this condition or that condition. It helps alleviate symptoms. And it's like you never think that that would necessarily be the case, but it's like it is, it works. Who knows? So yeah, there you go, Aquarius. If you are divinely inspired to do something, I'd say listen to it. I'd say follow it. I'd say it doesn't necessarily have to be as hard as you may think it will be. There may be those who will like be on your team and who will work with you. Always like use your own intuition and discernment, and also like whenever you are like let that apply to whenever you start to work with people, or if you do decide to bring people in on it. And again, it doesn't have to be like a worst case scenario of like someone steals your idea and they sell it to whoever. It could just be like, when you hit a lull, or when you hit a little bit of a block, when you hit that moment, that time where it's time to innovate, or it's at the very least like know who to go to. If there's someone who just like generally has a fairly negative outlook, or that is generally like, oh, well, like, this didn't happen and that doesn't happen and this won't work and that won't work. Everyone has their place. So maybe that person is more like practical and analytical. And so it's like if the thing is already assembled, then I want to say pragmatism may be helpful in the way of like bringing it to market or whatever. Like once it's compiled, then that person may be good at like finding the place for it. They may not necessarily be as like explorative or diverse in thinking to like incorporate outside things or to not reinvent. What's the word for to like repurpose something? Like that might not be their thing. And that's fine, right? Like you have the business people on the business side, and it's again, it's like, their input could be helpful where it's like you're not overspending, but it's like if you're in the process of pioneering, there's going to be some failure, there are going to be some costs and other things. And it's not that their opinion is completely invalid because it does hold validity, but at the same time, it's like, you don't necessarily want to give up or quit before you even really get started. Because there's also an energy, again, of like you have the resources or the technology exists. You might have to get creative. You might have to explore a little bit. But it feels like it's there. Thank you, Aquarius, for being kind and only bringing out like, 5 cards, 6 cards? Let's see if Capricorn will keep up the theme. I'm going to call Capricorn 5230. 5230. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I might still do for it today. I might end up getting to Sagittarius. Everyone's been so nice, All right, Sagittarius. I'm going to just cut it. Let's see. So, hold up. Capricorn. Where did Sagittarius come from? You could be on this Capricorn Sagittarius cusp. You could be dealing with the Sagittarius. You could have a Sagittarius placement. That's significant. What's in Sagittarius right now? Is Sagittarius empty? I literally just looked at it before. Where's my phone? Here it is. Sag is empty. Nothing is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the only one that had none. No descendant, no IC, no MC, no minor body that I'm tracking at the very least. None. The only sign with the none. How are you with ambiguity, Sagittarius? Because I feel like ambiguity could be good for a Sagittarius. To have free reign, to have that freedom of no prompts, no rules, no restrictions. But at the same time, the only thing that, well, maybe that's me as a Pisces sun and mine, because my Mercury is in Pisces in both Vedic and tropical. So my moon is in Taurus no matter what, and my Mercury is always in Pisces. So in the 12th house. So maybe it's a me thing where it's like, if I don't have a starting point, if I don't have a prompt, then my brain is like everywhere. But if I have like a guideline, at least my brain is like all in this channel. And then, you can get something cohesive. But I know like Sagittarius's mind is like amazing. So I don't know if you need a prompt or not, or if you can just be like, oh, that's what I want. And we're going to go on that way. Like we're going to go on that vein. We're going to go in that direction. But with nothing in Sagittarius, it's almost like it's a blank slate, clean slate. But also for the energy of Sagittarius, I don't want to say it's interesting. With Sagittarius being like academia and higher education, higher thoughts, philosophy, things like that, you would think that there'd at least be something there. I don't know. Let's get into it. I thought I was done shuffling for you, but apparently not. King of Wands. So Leo. Looking at fixed fire. I'm pulling from the bottom today, Sagittarius. So Page of Cups, Page of Swords, Knight of Pentacles is the bottom three. There's like a lot of chaos in the back. Like the horse is bucking, the crows are attacking, but we start with this Page of Cups. Now, immediately, it's like if the Page of Swords was holding the cup, then you think, oh, the birds want the fish, and you're just holding it. Like seagulls and shiny things. Does Earth meet air? Yeah. Oh, Capricorn! 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 I kept on that Sagittarius train. Well, what's in Capricorn? I wanted to see what's in Sagittarius because I accidentally said Sagittarius, and then I went looking for what's in Sagittarius, like I just said, and I got lost on that train of thought, and I forgot again that I'm reading for Capricorn. Well, Capricorn, you have the IC right now, but as the rising changes and moves, the IC and the MC and the descendant also change and move. So at the time of recording, you have the IC at 7 degrees, but that thing is going to move into wherever it's going to move into. So you're not a nun, but you're effectively empty. Which is interesting. One side of Jupiter is empty. One side of Saturn is empty. Are they complementary sides? No. They're neighbors. I mean, I guess they're not necessarily like whatever, but it would be what masculine side of Jupiter, feminine side of feminine side of Saturn. I don't know why Sagittarius keeps Capricorn. You are cardinal Earth. We're looking for the Queen of Pentacles. This almost feels like having to work with something or someone that you don't want to. In here, in these two. Because it's like, the night of like these two don't get along, but the Page of Cups is like, I need you two to work it out. But more than that, it's both of those being empty. It feels like a moment of peace as I talk about you having to work with an energy that you might not want to. But it's like maybe typically you don't, but there's something that unites you and cause, or there's some moment where your goals align or you both want the same thing. Sagittarius is mutable fire, Capricorn is cardinal earth. So it's like there's something that wants to change in fire, or there's some rebranding of fire. And then there's something birthing in the earth. It's almost like it makes me think of when the earth was too hot for life or too cold for life. It's making me think of thermal extremes. And the fire is already sort of like shifting. And so it's almost like this sweet spot. And so like Jupiter and Saturn aren't in competition. Saturn isn't trying to restrict Jupiter. And because Saturn isn't trying to restrict Jupiter, Jupiter isn't fighting back against Saturn. like restriction. And maybe with that Sagittarius energy instead of Pisces, even though Capricorn sextiles Pisces. um, Maybe it's like, because again, there was a question of like, how does Sagittarius handle no prompt? I don't know if it's like your goals align or if you provide a certain framework that Sagittarius can run with. But this is about you, Capricorn. So, Queen of Pentacles. And because I keep saying Sagittarius, I feel like I have to do Sagittarius. Sagittarius is like, you reading me today. Queen of Pennies. All right, let's start. We'll move these off to the side. The Star is the card before the Queen of Pentacles. It's a heavenly miracle. They do say that Saturn was the sun before the sun was the sun, I think. I think that's what people say. The Moon, the Hierophant, the Hanged Man, the Queen of Cups, Death, the Page of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, the Knight of Swords, the Sun, the Moon, the Emperor, Hierophant, the Chariot. Ooh, oh, I'm not reading these like that. The Chariot again. I was like, that would have been real easy. Chariot back to back. Judgment. Temperance. King of Wands. The Magician. The Hermit. The Lovers. The King of Cups. The Devil. The Page of Wands. And the Queen of Pentacles. So yours actually looks very similar to Aquarius, but you doubled up on every card. So I'm reading this in a 3x6. You came out first row, first column, second column, second row. Oh, so that's like 11 and 22. There's some master energy, master number energy here. I'm going to take everything below you. See, this is when I'd be like, there's nothing that's outside of your control because of how I read these. Or nothing in your control because of how I read it. Because I'll pull out everything that's outside. So, even though I probably could have kept it, but it's fine. You didn't have too many, but you have enough. All right, Capricorn. See, so you come out on top of the Wheel of Fortune, the broken Wheel of Fortune. And it feels like, again, it's playing on that energy where it's like, maybe you're not at odds with something that you used to be. Because again, like it feels like there's some kind of cooperation between Saturn and Sagittarius. Between Capricorn and Sagittarius. Goodness. where it's like it's redefining a dynamic, it's redefining something that completely shifts the world on its axis. In your present moment, you have the moon and the magician. The moon, the magician, and the wheel of fortune. It feels like you are doing something that, but that was the thing, right? I couldn't think of what Jupiter does to Saturn besides like be like too much and start to encroach on the space of Saturn, and then Saturn is like, you're doing too much, Jupiter. But it was like because Saturn isn't restricting Jupiter anymore, Jupiter is not pushing back against Saturn. I think it's interesting too that every time the magician has appeared, it's been the active one. It hasn't been the one that doesn't have anything to do. It's like, I don't want to say you were the problem, Capricorn, but it feels like this is some kind of change that happened within you because of something that you were manifesting or because of something that you wanted. And you actually broke the wheel of fortune. It's because you started showing up in a different way. It's because you changed the dynamic that an old way of going about things fell apart, and that a new way can be established. In the past, it's the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Wands. So this feels like, being on the same page with somebody or having a similar idea, but your approaches were so vastly different that it's almost like you butted heads. If this isn't about another person, like let's say this is like probably like take it as it resonates and like apply the energy in the area of your life where it applies. But it's like if you want to like have your cake and eat it too, you can't do both, right? Because if you eat your cake, it's gone. But what's the point of having it if you can't eat it? But it's like things that were seemingly so unaligned or so like that like they could never get on the same page. But because the King of Wands came out, it feels like you learn to respect your differences with somebody. You learn to appreciate their strengths, and in you learning to appreciate their strengths, you recognize that their strengths accommodate your weaknesses and your strengths theirs. You cover each other's weaknesses. That's why you were placed together. And with this King of Wands, like this, it's feeling like very confident. But it's this confidence that like you have, and it's a confidence that the other has. And as long as it's almost like a peeing contest between, it's like who's more in charge, who's more of the leader, who's more established. And it's like as long as you both take that approach, you're not going to get anywhere with this. because it doesn't feel like either one of you is actually a page. But it's almost like, when you start to bicker and argue like one. It's like, we should do it this way. No, we should do it that way. No, we should do it this way. And it feels like you may have taken the initiative to be the bigger person. Or you may have been the first that's like, and like maybe it happened because of some situation. Maybe like the person handled a situation really well, and it was a situation that you would not have handled the same way. But because they handled it in their way, something came of it. It's almost like if you are very like analytical and very like, does this make sense? Does that make sense? And if someone else is like very sort of like caring or compassionate, you may view them as like too emotional, like they could be so easily taken advantage of, or they're gullible or whatever. And like, let's say there was a situation with someone who was like downtrodden, or they were like, can you do this for me? Like, I'll pay you back, like, I promise, or whatever. And they handle, you were like, oh no, like in your mind, it's like, they're just trying to get money. Like, they're not going to pay me back, or they're not going to do whatever with that. They're not going to do what they need to do with that. So I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to waste my energy. I'm not going to waste my money, my hard earned money. No, thank you. But the other person's like, oh yeah, I know you're good for it, or something about you just feels whatever. Here you go. And you think it's going to be whatever, but that person turns out to be whatever. And so you recognize in that person that their kindness and generosity, because it played out this time, but you recognize that their kindness and generosity, like, it has a place. And so you get to sort of respect them more, maybe because of the return on that investment. Or maybe someone just has like a sixth sense for business, and they invest in high risk, high whatever stocks. And you are more so like, you go for the sure thing, for the guaranteed money. Maybe they do take a few losses, but then they get a big win. And you learn to like respect their process. And maybe that's the start of like the change of this dynamic, where you're like, oh, so like there are situations in which their approach is valid. There are, in fact, some situations where their approach is better than mine. There are some things that they're better suited for than I am. And so it's like you allow both people to be kings and queens instead of like in competition with one another. That's all the past leading up to the present. So we're going to move into the future, and we'll do it in a nice way for you, Capricorn, step by step, how you like it. I'm assuming. I think I heard thunder rumbling, but it is supposed to storm today. Thankfully, I made it there and back before, we were caught. It was really windy going there, but we didn't get blown off the highway. But now, like I said, let's move this into the future. So your first step into the future, first step moving forward, is the Hierophant and the Hermit. This feels like, honestly, it feels like you trying to be more adventurous, you trying to be more open-minded, you trying to be more inclusive of other ways of thinking or being, because you had that experience where you saw the merit of different approaches. And so it's like you're trying to be open, but also you might be struggling. Now, it's my thought that it's not for you to completely abandon who you are. And it's not for you to completely throw away everything that that you've learned. Because some of that, like, you may still use. Your approach is also valid. There are also situations where, like, your way would be a better way to handle it than the other way. Then we go into the Hanged Man and the Lovers, which is probably like trying to find that sweet spot, trying to find that balance. Oh my. And then we have the Queen of Cups with the King of Cups. What? Cancer and Scorpio. Cancer is your sextile, or Scorpio is your sextile, but Cancer is your opposite. There's something about these, like these two are for each other, but they're in very different positions. Like King of Cups looks a little more worried. Queen of Cups is like celebrating. She's like dancing. But is she though? Honestly, when I first saw these two, I was like, oh, I feel like there may be some drama. But like it feels like the Queen of Cups is trying to get the King of Cups to dance. The Queen of Cups is trying to get the King of Cups to like out of his comfort zone. And so she's like, looking it's really important to her that she does this for him. Maybe there's someone in your life that you care for deeply. And but it's like it doesn't even have to be a person, it can just be like two different areas of your life. Like maybe you keep your work life and your personal life separate, and so they can kind of sort of compete. Or like when one demands more, it's like it feels like the other gets a little less. It feels like the Queen of Cups knows that the King of Cups need this. So as she's like dancing and trying to like have a good time, she has this very concerned expression on her face, if it'll focus, looking at him. And it feels like he's like, doing that thing where you kind of laugh, but you don't want, like, he doesn't want her to see that he's laughing. And now it's raining for the King and Queen of Cups. I'm gonna shut up for a second so you can maybe hear it. You hear it? So he's actually loosening up. And then we have Death and the Devil. Oh, look who's chained up now. Oh, gosh. Love that. So this dynamic is completely gone. And I think, again, with the dead magician, where's the magician? You had the magician in the past? No. In the present? No. Did you not have the magician? Oh, here he is. See? The magician. Looks like the magician here. With the dead magician, this is you like doing things in a different way. And because you do things in a different way, it completely changes this dynamic. And we see the clothed lovers, the same two that were right here. They came out with the hanged man. But see, they're not the naked ones that just met. They're fully clothed. Look at it. Boom! Love that energy. The devil is a card of Capricorn, though. So you're still you. It's like you're you, but better. And it's not that you were bad before. It's not that you were necessarily wrong before. But maybe it was just like you were too rigid, or you were too fixed and too focused on how things used to be, to the point where you weren't, it's almost like you weren't modernizing. Was it Aquarius or was it you? I think it was Aquarius, but it could have been you. Where it was like, maybe it was you. Because it fits your energy. I already forgot Aquarius, and usually I kind of remember these a little bit. Mm. Where it's like, instead of looking at the negative aspects of this generation or the generation that's entering the workforce, you look at the positives. And the thing about Capricorn, especially the Capricornian side of Saturn, is that it's an energy of legacy. It builds things that stands the test of time. So as times change, sometimes Capricorn changes. And it's not to stay relevant and to stay hip or whatever, because that's subjective. That's like subjective, and it depends on the trends or whatever. But it's like, computers are a thing now. So it's like using computers instead of abacuses, or using calculators at the very least. Or it's like I don't know if it's like legal or if it's like with regulations or something like that. But again, it's like it there are certain ways or certain things that it's good to be up to date with. You want a infrastructure and an architecture that is strong enough to withstand the demands of modern society. I read an article. I saw a headline and I read a little bit. I skimmed through an article one day about how when a lot of parking garages and things were constructed, they were built for the cars of the time. And it talked about how like electric vehicles weigh more than those vehicles back then, and they weigh more than their like modern counterparts. And so if everyone were to go electric, like the parking garages wouldn't be able to handle that load. It would be too heavy. They would collapse. And a parking garage isn't necessarily something that you can go in and modify the structure of, because it's already been constructed, it's already built. Maybe you can add supports in some strategic locations. I'm not a civil engineer, girl. I don't know. Maybe you could add supports in certain locations to help it sort of maintain that weight, or you could do some kind of ribbed, um, some kind of ribbed. I'm saying ribbed, but it feels like you put beams under to support the platforms or whatever to help it, whatever. But it's like those are the things that you want, like you want to modernize in those ways. And it feels like something or someone is helping you do that. And it's going to pay off majorly in the end. It may actually solve something that has been a large concern for you. Excuse me. But your openness and your willingness to expand and change and evolve is what. And it isn't even necessarily your willingness to expand and change and evolve. It feels like it's more so like your ability to, I don't want to say get with the times. It's your ability to respect other people. That will help you out. Between you and Aquarius, there's something very collective. There's something very like, you don't do it alone, or you don't have to do it alone. Maybe I already forgot Aquarius. I think that Sagittarius came in and threw me all the way off. Sagittarius scrubbed my brain of Aquarius. But I feel like Aquarius had something similar. No, Aquarius had, yeah, kind of, sort of, yeah. Aquarius had a message of like, be mindful of the people that you bring into your operation, because you don't want someone who's going to fight you at every single step to make it even more difficult to bring this new thing. But realize that there may be a point in the process where they'll be very helpful and very beneficial. So kind of, sort of. Aquarius had some kind of idea that it's the time for, that has a lot of momentum behind it, that humanity is wanting and asking for, and some kind of, Pluto and Aquarius, technical evolution, revolution, whatever possible. But yeah, you're not going to lose your spot, Capricorn. Or, well, you can keep it. But, so just, know that there sometimes are valid reasons to modernize or to update, more so than like just to be trendy or hip or popular. If you're in like a certain industry where you want to be trendy, hip, and popular, then you're probably already on TikTok, or you probably already have your social media person that handles your TikTok. Um, but it feels more like necessity. The needs and demands have changed. And if you want to stick around, if you want to stay in business, you will do the same, you know? But again, it's like there's still like your wisdom, the benefit of your knowledge and wisdom and time spent wherever you are, or time spent going about things the way that you did it, is still valuable. It's just about finding and striking a new balance. And it's a lot easier to find that balance when there's mutual respect on both sides rather than this energy of competition and trying to prove. So the cards did kind of say like you might be the bigger person. With the moon and the magician, it was like there's something within you that you've been working on healing, doing that now you can be like, good job with that one thing that you did, you know. The people who work for you love it. They love positive affirmation and acknowledging the work that they do because it makes them feel valuable. And it lets them know that you appreciate what they do for you, you know? Be it people who you work with or people who work for you or people who you work for. I don't know. The Emperor, Capricorn, with the moon at the bottom of the deck and the High Priestess below that. Where things go, nobody knows. Not even Saturn necessarily knows. But this is the quality of you that helps you, like, that gives you longevity. Even when you don't know, even for those unpredictable cases and for those things that no one could have predicted to happen. It feels like there's a way that you can handle it, face it, solve it, resolve it. Boom. Ooh. All right, Sagittarius. Goodness. Coming in here, wrecking things. Oh, I went to Scorpio. What's wrong with me? Ah, Sagittarius, I'm going to say you start at 128. Woo, goodness. Sagittarius. Okay. Ooh, I just felt like a coolness come in, which is great because I ain't glistening yet, but it is starting to get a little warm. All right, Sagittarius. Ooh, you have the King of Pentacles, Taurus energy, Taurian energy coming out. Jupiter is still in Aries. Jupiter is in Aries. So your ruler isn't even in, but Jupiter is going to transit into Taurus at some point. So in 3 weeks and 5 days, Jupiter is going to transit into Taurus. And it looks like the nodes will still be in Taurus at that point. Tuesday, May 16th. Let me go look at May 16th. Oh, that's the day after my grandma's birthday. Grandma. 2027? How did I skip to 2027? Hello? I was like, where is Jupiter? So the North Node will be 3 degrees. So you're going to conjunct the North Node in Taurus before it heads into Aries. Mercury will be direct in Taurus at that point in time. The Sun will still be in Taurus. Uranus will be in Taurus. So it'll be Jupiter, North Node, Mercury, Uranus, and the Sun all in Taurus at that point. Mars and Venus will both be in Cancer at that point. And Sagittarius will still be empty. So, Sagittarius. What? Oh, yeah, because Taurus energy came out. And I was like, why is Taurus here? Like, your ruler isn't even in Taurus, but your ruler will be transiting into Taurus. And unlike Pisces, you only got Jupiter. Not you only have Jupiter, because Jupiter is expansive enough for, whatever. I almost wonder if, I wonder if there aren't any Sagittariuses, like when Jupiter first became, or when Neptune was first becoming a thing, and they were like, oh, Pisces is ruled by Neptune. I wonder if there weren't any Sagittariuses that were like, thank goodness. Because that Jupiter, we knew something was up with that side of Jupiter. The delusion. I'm kidding. I mean, old Sagittarius will have to let me know. Bottom of the deck. Knight of Pentacles. We're looking before and after the Knight of Wands, Immutable Fire. The Hermit and the Page of Wands. This feels like nature knows something that we don't. The Hermit is luring the horse. And then comes the Page of Wands. This almost feels like a messenger. I guess it is the Page of Wands. But it almost feels like someone's like, hey, this thing is happening. And you're like, what? Maybe it's something that you call off of work for because of that Knight of Pentacles. And you're like, I'm not missing this. This is something I really want. Feels like something's going to come in and light your fire. Emperor back to back. What? High Priestess, Emperor, the Devil. And then the Hermit. All right, Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands. Excuse me. Ooh, King and Queen of Wands are facing each other. The Towers are together again. Are the Queen of Pentacles together? Nope, the Empress is with the Queen of Pentacles. The Sun, the Moon, Queen of Pentacles. Oh, see, that would have been short. Capricorn couldn't have given me that, huh? Page of Wands. Knight of Wands. Here we go. We only got this many cards left. The mutable signs are really nice. I mean, Aquarius was nice too. But the mutable signs are, 6 cards. Yes. Sometimes it's more difficult to read than, more cards. But so you have the Chariot, Judgment, Page of Cups, Knight of Swords, Death, the Devil, Hierophant, the Lovers, Hierophant, the Chariot, the Magician, the Queen of Cups, and the Knight of Wands again. The only 2 cards left are Strength and Justice. So, I think everyone except for Pisces, but Pisces came out in the first row. So Aquarius was second column, second row. Capricorn was also second column, second row, but after a full layer of cards. You are second column, third row. Everyone's in the second column today, besides Pisces, which was in the 5th column, because it was 1, and then which was in the 5th column. In your row, you have the Queen of Swords, which is self-reflection with a kinder voice. The sword is down, and she's looking at herself. In your column is not the Emperor, the Chariot and the Hierophant. Now, this is the Hierophant with people to teach, people to talk to. But it's a chariot that's not moving. Fun fact is, neither one of these chariots move. No, it was the Hierophant. Was it the Chariot and then the Hierophant, or the Hierophant? No, it was the Hierophant and then the Chariot, because the lovers separate the two Hierophants. This, you may be in a point in time of like questioning your beliefs. You have a lot in your future as well. Because again, you're in the second column out of 6. So there are 4 columns in your future, 1 column in your past. And I'm like the only card that's left in your past that's not in your column or row is the Devil. Glad this is in the past. Bye bye. Maybe there was a way that there was like an approach that you had, or there was a way that you thought things should go that wasn't very conducive to like movement, or it wasn't conducive to forward movement. Maybe it more so kept you stuck and hindered than it did like give you that liberation and freedom that you so love and crave. And I say that again because the Chariot is still, this lion ain't going nowhere. I'd be lying if I said that there was any movement in this Chariot card, because where? And that's what the Hierophant, which is about beliefs. The Devil immediately precedes the Hierophant, so that could have been like a toxic belief system. Or this could be like you thinking that you deserve things that you absolutely did not deserve at all. Moving into the future, we have Judgment clarified by the Lovers, which is gorgeous. This is post-resurrection judgment. So it's almost like in this new life, in this new world, in this new way that you go about things, that's where you find complementary energy. The angel has come and blown its trumpet and is on to the next. Maybe you could have been one of the first people to step foot in this new world, whatever. You could have been in the 5D. You know what I mean? As the 5D is trickling into the rest of, Earth, the rest of the collective. Maybe you've been in the 5D for a minute, even though this is the immediate future. I don't know if this is the future though. Because technically it did come out before, but I'm going to read these as like moving into the future rather than right? I don't even know if I did it for the correct number of whatever. So you've gone through some significant change. Again, this feels like it's already been. Check your own timeline, right? If you ain't already did it, then maybe you're doing it, or maybe you will do it. But in this new way of going about things, that's where you find that mutual energy. I was like, was it Judgment and then the Lovers? I don't remember. Yeah, because the Lovers separated the two Hierophants. Something about the Lovers and the Hierophants is making it easy for me to keep track of the cards when I put them back down. Because it was the Hierophant, the Lovers, the Hierophant. And I'm always like, did I put these back? And I was like, yeah, because it was Lovers, Hierophant, Lovers. So it was like before, it was like the Devil and the Hierophant. So like it's a difference in dynamics. Like this is what informed the previous Hierophant, and it's like there's no wonder or no reason why you may have experienced limited expansion, limited abundance, whatever. But now that this Lovers that accompanies the energy of Judgment is informing this new Hierophant, well, you get the Chariot again, and this Chariot ain't going nowhere either. But we'll get to it. Well, I'll just no, because this Knight of Swords ain't on the horse either. This is you taking matters into your own hands. This Knight of Swords is interesting though, because the trees suggest that the wind is blowing. The way that the trees are like bowed and bent suggests that there's a movement in air, but it feels like the knight's cape, maybe his like tassel is blowing, but the cape feels relatively still. So I can't tell if there's movement in this card, or I can't tell if maybe you may not be at the eye of some kind of storm. And I'm looking at this cat. I'm looking at the lion, which is a big cat, I guess. I'm looking at the lion, and it's making me think of that thing that animals do when something is like wrong. Because at first, the charioteer is like, "Why aren't you moving?" And then the lion like lays down to signify that it's like it's not gonna move. I don't know if the lion is unwell, or I don't know if the lion feels something. Why did you? How did this card, your first card, turn face down on top of the devil, and it went in reverse? Hello? Not no more. Use free. Use free now. Sorry. I'm sorry. Use free now. I almost wonder if something has taken you as far as it can take you. I think it was Pisces with the Hanged Man and the Hierophant. Pretty sure it was Pisces that had an energy that felt like it could be like getting new guides. Or maybe it's because your sign is the centaur. So you are the horse. There's nothing that carries you forward. The lion that pulls the chariot is not going anywhere. On the fastest night, or one of the faster nights in the deck, he's off of the horse, feet planted, not going anywhere. But immediately after this is death and the fool. What's interesting is though, your most immediate, like the very next thing was judgment and the lovers. There is movement in this judgment card, but that's people walking on their own 2 feet. It's interesting to me though, because this comes before this. Like the very last thing in this spread is taking a leap of faith. Oof. These two together don't look that great, but they're wearing different clothes. But this is the magician. The fool has all the tools. The magician is like lying dead. So that does it carries an energy of like doing things in a new way or doing things in a different way. But again, like what's interesting to me is that like you meet this reciprocating energy after judgment, before you try to get back on the chariot, before you take that leap of faith, before you like reestablish yourself. And I guess it's just interesting because you would think that like you take the leap of faith first, and then you start moving, and then you find a complementary energy. But you get the lover first. Because you get the lover first, it feels like the paths may be intertwined in some way. Girl. The only card I haven't read on the table is this Page of Cups that accompanies the Hierophant. And maybe this is just a new spirituality, whereas the old one is vacant. The divine is leading us in a new way that it's almost because, again, like you meet this person or whoever you're meeting after judgment, after the energy of judgment, we see that, they're clothed and they're like moving into that 5D. And it was kind of like, was you in the 5D before everybody's in the 5D? It's almost how like you have your beta testers or you have the people who like set up the system, and it's not that they completely outline everything, but it's like you have the people who are there early so that if people have questions, there's somebody to answer those questions. And apparently that person is Sagittarius. But that's not super surprising because this has kind of sort of low-key been a theme in your energy. And it came in when I read your cards, when I did your La Fruma reading for the soft launch. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because I used the Raven Tarot. So maybe it wasn't that, but I remember using the Raven Tarot and your energy was gorgeous, but there wasn't any water. But then the Six of Cups came out at the end as like your final card. And it was like there are these things that you leave behind for those that are almost like trail markers for those that come behind you. And this is like it's self-made. Maybe that's why like there's no animal to take you, because you are literally forging the new path, leading the pack. Maybe that's also why you end up in this lover's energy so early, because then it's like when you need support moving forward, and it's like because the death, but it's like not that death card, like because the old magician is dead, it's like you don't need someone who's still, or it's like it's not as beneficial if you're with someone who's still back here or who's still operating in the way that was appropriate for the 3D, for the old energy, because they won't necessarily help you forward. They'll like kind of sort of turn you back in that direction. And the divine isn't necessarily stepping up because it feels like it's about you creating, you choosing. And so it's like you have another person or another group of people who align with where you are on the other side of this judgment energy, so that you all move forward together. Nobody has a horse or a donkey or anything carrying them forward. They have each other. They're literally like establishing the new paradigm, modeling the new humanity or something like that. Wow. Is it like, when Google Plus, was it Google Plus? When that first became a thing, and when Facebook became a thing, and when Clubhouse first became a thing, and it was like you had to invite somebody to the app so that they can use it. Like, are you inviting people into the 5D Sagittarius? Like, can you send a brother an invitation? Like, it's like, yeah, it's kind of exclusive. It's invitation only right now. Like, we're sort of like beta testing it, before all of that muck and grime from the old way of doing things comes in and like sours the experience. It's almost like you're testing out the system It's not like stress testing. Is it benchmarking? Where it's like you're testing out the new systems to see what it can do, right? It's like, for the person who only uses their phone to make phone calls, you could do that with cell phones that they had in the 90s. You could do that with a brick, right? So it's like it doesn't test any new features and it's not pushing the hardware. But if anyone's going to push it, it's going to be Sagittarius. It might be Gemini too. Gemini and Sagittarius would be the ones that like really, Wow, I got my Clarity Tarot. You know what? We're going to pull a Clarity Tarot. Is it invitation only? Oh, no. Page of Pentacles says no. It's not invitation only, but, this page, so the how and why yesterday. The how was the Queen of Pentacles. And the Queen of Pentacles, the deer was in the background casting a shadow. And this Page of Pentacles, the deer has approached. Almost looking like a llama, but And then the why, like it felt like the Queen of Cups had an almost wish fulfillment energy. But the Queen of Cups is like our vision at the end goal. The Page of Cups is the beginning. So it's like it's the beginning of the thing that we see. That's why we're being asked to Queen of Pentacles. So it's not exclusive. It's not invitation only. So, but it's like you have to be in a space. It's like the energy comes to you and it's pentacles. It's not cups. So it's not like you sit at home and you own yourself into this state where you completely detach from everything that's happening in your world. And then that comes to you. It's like based upon the way that you live your life, based upon how you navigate your day to day. That's what like determines if you're a fit for that new energy. So if you have a Sagittarius in your life that done made it, maybe look at them. Maybe not though. I mean, obviously, if they're in it, then yes. But also, like, different things are different for different people. You know what I mean? So their way of going may not necessarily be your way. If y'all are similar enough, maybe. I don't know. But the King of Pentacles was your first card out. So it feels like you will be well established, well established over there. Or it's because of how you navigated, again, because of how you navigated over here. Because of not only, like, there's a kindness and a compassion to that King of Pentacles, but the King of Pentacles also gives back. The King of Pentacles participates in this. It's like the frequency of abundance. The King of Pentacles is a bestower of abundance. And by that, I mean, when the King of Pentacles receives, he gives back, right? Sometimes our abundance comes through a mysterious check in the mail. Sometimes our abundance comes through a generous donor. Sometimes our abundance comes in through an opportunity that leads to abundance. It's like sometimes it's a person that is led by the divine, that is sent from the divine, that is the bestower of our abundance. So it's like with the King of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles has been having this energy for a minute now, where it's like the King of Pentacles is abundant and blessed because the divine knows that he is the one that will move it forward, that will spread it, that will share it, that will give it, rather than being the one that hoards it and isolates it and builds up his own coffers, who acts in self-interest. Right? Then you kind of get into Minos territory, where it's like you were given the bull to sacrifice, and now that you've accomplished whatever, you don't want to sacrifice the bull. Literally the only reason why it was given to you. Like you knew this at the beginning. Anyway, no problem. Oh, the High Priestess in the Chariot. Yeah, that lion didn't move for a reason. High Priestess knows why that lion is laying down. But you get the people who are like chased by the birds. It's like chased by the birds in that direction. So maybe it wasn't the smooth ride that you were expecting or the smooth ride that you had grown accustomed to. Maybe it was a little bit more, you know. But you got where you were going, or you're getting there. It's beautiful, Sagittarius. Maybe that's why you were so impatient. I don't know if a Sagittarius is like, because Sagittarius and Capricorn were intertwined. I don't know if Sagittarian energy, I think it is though. Because for Capricorn, it felt like Capricorn needed to be the bigger person. Capricorn was the one that initiated that. Like, oh, I noticed that like you do this and it's effective in those ways. Capricorn was the first to express that appreciation, and then the appreciation was reciprocated. But it's like if the thing didn't work out, then Capricorn wouldn't have seen it to know. So maybe that's what you're doing for Capricorn, Sagittarius. Maybe that's what Jupiter is doing for Saturn. I don't know. Like I say, I'm just the dude who pulled the cards. Same paper and plastic and ink that you can get. All right, final. We'll say 15640. 15640. I'm not gonna type it, but I'll remember. The final card from the Prime Muse, and then I have, I think, 5 signs left, so I'll probably just do all 5. It'll start with Cancer, and it'll end with Scorpio. All right, final card, final card, final card, final card, final card. I kind of still want to do Taurus into, or Aries into Taurus, but maybe I'll do it tomorrow. It's fine. Final card, please. Final card, please. Final card, please, 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 please. Please, please, please. Ooh, face down. I love a little bit of mystery. Bottom of the deck is Strength. This Strength card is interesting. I don't know if maybe they're like playing. I don't know. I mean, it don't really look like the lion is. Oh, wait. Feels like the lion, it almost looks like the lion is asleep. Like the eyes look closed and everything. Maybe it's just yawning. And that's why she's like not pressed. But then we have the High Priestess. And then Death. This is the only Death card that's been coming out today, which is interesting. Goodbye to the old way of doing things. The High Priestess and Strength. Strength and the High Priestess. Who came out? The World. Death to the old way of doing things. A new way begins. What is this? There's so much. I don't know if this plays on the lion spread at all. In the lion spread, the lion was an energy that helps us do what we need to do. So it empowers us in that way by not handling things for us. I don't know if it's that. I don't know. Maybe this is for you. This is the bottom of the deck for the World card. There you go. Hello, David. How are you doing today? You caught me at the end of the video, but I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And it's 2 hours. That is some kind of achievement. Bye.